All right, hello everyone. So today we're going to continue on with our games of Marvel Champions. Today our hero is going to be Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is going to be a protection character, so he's going to have a bunch of the green protection aspect cards. The thing that makes Doctor Strange special is obviously he is a mystic spellcaster. So he's got this separate deck of cards that I can play called the Invocation deck. When I'm in alter ego form, once per round, I can take the top card of that deck and discard it. Like if I don't like it and I want to get a different one. And then when I'm in hero form, I can play the top card of the Invocation deck basically as if it were in my hand. The cost of doing that is I have to pay the normal cost, the resource cost in the corner, but then I also have to exhaust Doctor Strange. So if I'm able to ready him, I can possibly play more than one off the top of the deck, depending on if I have the resources and all that kind of stuff. And then when that deck eventually runs out, since there's only 5 cards, you just reshuffle and then keep going with it. The villain we're going to be playing against today is the second version of Green Goblin. So the first version of Green Goblin was the one that we played last time, where Green Goblin switches back and forth between Green Goblin and Norman Osborn, and you have to kind of deal with him in his human form and in his villain form, where he's going back and forth. This one, he is just full villain, no human, just Green Goblin, trying to spread the mutagen formula, trying to turn as many people into goblins as he possibly can. With that means that this deck has quite a few goblin minions in it. And at the beginning of the game, they actually force you to start with one and play. So at the beginning of the game, it says, as part of setup, to have each player have a goblin thrall sit in front of them. Obviously, since I'm playing solo, I just have the one. This card has guard, so that means I cannot attack the main villain when he's in front of me. But if I have any cards that just deal damage without specifically using the keyword attack, then that means that I can still deal damage to the villain while he's in front of me. So that might be something that we will have to deal with as we play. My starting hand, I had a decent hand. The one problem that I had is I really like this Ever Vigilant card. It allows you to ready your hero and remove threat from the main scheme. This was a card that we also had in the Angel deck. But the reason that it's good in the Angel deck, but a little bit trickier in this deck, is that it requires you to have the Aerial trait. And Doctor Strange does not inherently have the Aerial trait. You have to give it to him by getting his cloak, and he doesn't have it otherwise. So I got 2 of my 3 copies of Ever Vigilant in my hand right at the beginning of the game, but I did not get my cloak, so I will not be able to play those right away. So that's unfortunate, but I think we'll be okay. At the beginning of the game, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use his alter ego ability to go ahead and discard the top card of this deck, the Invocation deck, because it is going to distribute tough cards to up to 3 different characters, and that's good. I would be happy to give Doctor Strange a tough card, but I'd rather use that when I have more people to play it on. So I'm going to discard that and then reveal the next card on the top of the deck, which is the Crimson Bands of Sitarak, which is definitely better. It is going to allow me to stun an enemy and deal 7 damage to it, and then discard this card. And this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about, where the guard keyword means I can't attack Green Goblin while the Goblin Thrall is in front of me, but this doesn't say attack, it just says deal damage. So I should be able to use that even with that guard minion in front of me. With that done, I don't think there's anything else. The only other thing I could do in alter ego form, I could also do this in hero form, it doesn't have to be one or the other, is I can play this Spiritual Meditation. It's a free card, and I can draw 2 cards and discard a card. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. The only requirement for that is that I have to have a Mystic trait, and Doctor Strange thankfully has the Mystic trait in both alter ego and hero form, so it doesn't matter when I play that card. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll draw 2 cards. 2 cards I got were Multiple Man and another copy of Spiritual Meditation. I think I'm going to take Multiple Man and discard Spiritual Meditation. Multiple Man's really cool. After you play him, you go and find basically another copy of Multiple Man and put it into play. So that's pretty sweet. So we're going to take that. And then we're going to go ahead and flip over to hero side. Okay, so when I'm on hero side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Power of Protection, which produces 2 resources for a protection card. And then I'm going to use those 2 Ever Vigilance that I can't play anyway to make up the other 2 resources to play Multiple Man. And I'll put him in play. And then after Multiple Man enters play, search your deck and hand for a copy of Multiple Man and put it into play. So I'll go find another copy. And then when you find the second copy, I believe he's entering play, so then you can go find another one. So essentially, you're allowed to have 3 copies of most cards. There are some cards where you're only allowed to have 1 copy. But as far as I'm aware, I'm fairly certain that the way that this is supposed to work is that when you find Multiple Man, when you play Multiple Man, you're supposed to be able to just get the other 2 immediately out. And that's the big benefit of why he's a decent ally. So I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, but I think so. Okay, so I searched my deck for that, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. And then I think what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of minions anyway, just because they're annoying. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use all 3 Multiple Men to take out the Goblin Thrall and deal 1 damage from each of them to take him out. Even if I can use the Crimson Bands of Sidorak to get rid of, to ignore guard, I'm still going to want to get rid of minions just because minions are good to get rid of. Okay, so I've shuffled my deck. Each copy of Multiple Man also needs to take consequential damage, so I'll grab that. And then now, even if I was wrong about this being able to ignore guard, it doesn't matter at this point because now I don't have guard in front of me anymore. Then I am going to go ahead and use Dr. Strange. I'm going to tap him. And then I'm going to play the top card of the Invocation deck. It requires me to pay 2 resources. I have 2 cards left in my hand, so I will pay those 2 cards and discard Crimson Bands of Sidorak. I get to stun an enemy. I only have 1 enemy that's available at the moment, so I'm going to stun Green Goblin. And I deal 7 damage to him, and he starts at 16, so he's going to go down to 9. Okay, and then I'm out of cards. All my people have activated, so I'm going to go ahead and ready everything. And draw, oh, I need to flip my top card of the Invocation deck, and then I will go ahead and grab the rest of my hand. So I need to draw a full 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I did draw my Cloak of Levitation. Now, of course, I got it in my second hand. So I got that. So that'll give me Ariel. I got Protective Ward. When a treachery is revealed from the encounter deck, I can cancel all of its effects. And then Master of the Mystic Arts will let me play my Invocation card from my Invocation deck without having to exhaust Doctor Strange. I got 2 copies of that. And then I got Power of Protection, which in this current hand is not any more useful than a regular resource card. Because I don't have any protection cards in my hand, so it's just 1 resource at the moment. Okay, so then it is the villain's turn, and he is going to go through normal villain turn things. He's going to get threat on the main scheme. He's going to get +1 because there's 1 player. And then normally he would be attacking me since I'm in hero form, but he's stunned, so he's going to just lose that. And then he is going to give me an encounter card, and if it is a treachery, I can play Protective Ward from my hand and cancel it if I feel like it's necessary. Okay, so I'm going to reveal the encounter card. So we got Longshot. That was cool. So I think I've had him come out before, but I'll say it again in case you missed it in one of the earlier videos. So Longshot is an ally that comes in the Mojo Mania villain pack that you can buy. And he basically is somebody that you can shuffle into any encounter that you want to. And it essentially is a free ally. So if he comes out as an encounter card, you get him in play for free. So it says when revealed, put Longshot into play. And then the negative thing is that this card gains Surge. So you get this for free, but then you have to get a different encounter to replace it. So we'll grab a new one. This is not a treachery, so I will not be able to cancel this. This is an attachment. So this says attach to the enemy with the highest printed hit points. We only have one enemy in play, so this is going to attach to Green Goblin. It will give him +1 attack. And then we can get rid of it by spending 2 yellow energy resources. So that's going to just attach to him. I'll just set that over there. And until we get rid of that, he's got +1 attack. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I really want to get my Cloak of Levitation into play. So I'm going to spend 2 resources to play that. And I'm going to just tuck that underneath of Dr. Strange's card here just to save some space. What that does is now I have the aerial trait, as we talked about before, and then I can use I can exhaust the Cloak of Levitation to ready Doctor Strange. So this is one of the ways that you can possibly play more than one card off the top of your invocation deck, is I can exhaust Doctor Strange to use his ability to play the top card, and then I can use the Cloak to ready him and then do it again, assuming you have enough resources to pay the cost of the invocation card itself. This one is free, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Might as well. So I'm going to exhaust Doctor Strange to play this card. It's the Winds of Watoomb. Says I get to draw 3 cards, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see. Oh, I know what I was going to do differently. I was going to not pay the Power of Protection, even though I didn't have a protection card in my hand, just in case I happen to draw one, so I'll pay one of my Master of the Mystical Arts instead. Okay, then I'll draw my 1, 2, 3 cards. Okay, I'm glad I did that, because one of the cards I drew was my other copy of Ever Vigilant, which I can use now because I was able to play the Cloak of Levitation. Okay, so then I'm going to discard the Winds of Watoomb and reveal the next card. This one is Images of Icon. I can confuse the villain and remove 4 threat from a scheme, and then place this card in the invocation deck discard pile. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Cloak to ready Doctor Strange. Since I've got the Cloak underneath of him, I'm not going to fully exhaust it. I'm just going to grab, I think I've got, yeah, there it is. I've got a coin over here. I'll just throw this coin on the Cloak to remember that I've already used it once this round. And that will ready Doctor Strange. And then I can use Doctor Strange to play the top card of the deck again. And this time I will have to discard a card as a resource. I'm going to discard this card as a resource to pay the cost of Images of Icon. I will confuse the villain and then remove 4 threat from a scheme. This is the only scheme we have, and it's only got 3, so we'll just remove those 3. And then this card gets discarded, and we reveal the next one. All right, we got Vapors of Valtor. It says choose a status card in play and replace that status card. So we could choose the Confuse and replace it with a Stun, for example, because Confuse isn't doing anything right now because we're not in alter ego form. So I think I'm actually going to want to do that, but that means that I would need to ready him again. Or instead of readying him again, I could play Master of Mystic Arts and pay the printed cost of the top card of the invocation deck. So I think I'm going to do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard a resource to play Master of the Mystic Arts and pay the printed cost of the top card of the invocation deck. In this case, that's 0. And resolve its special ability, then place it back on top of the invocation deck face up. So I'm going to use Vapors of Valtor to remove the Confused and replace it with a Stunned. And then normally that would get discarded, but the Master of the Mystic Arts card says I put it back on top of the invocation deck, so that stays there. Okay. And then I think I'm actually going to hold on to this. I was planning on using this again to ready my hero and do stuff again, but I think I'm actually going to hold on to it because it also removes 2 threat from the main scheme, and there isn't any on the main scheme right now. So I think I'm actually just going to hold on to that. But then I've got all of my allies that can activate, and so they're just all going to attack. So I'm going to attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. 1 damage is going to be placed on Longshot. All of these are going to die, are all going to get knocked out because they only have 2 health, and they'll take a damage when they attack. So my multiple men are going to get knocked out. And that is going to deal 5 damage to him. Down to 4. And then I still have his Goblin Glider in play, but I need 2 energy resources to get rid of that. And the cards I have in my hand are a Wild, which I could count as an energy, but this is a mental resource, a blue resource, so I can't use that. And he's not going to attack me this round anyway because of the stunned. Now he might get an encounter card that makes him attack, so he might attack me anyway, but that +1 attack shouldn't be too much of an issue right now. And I can't do anything about it right now anyway. So I'm going to keep both of these cards because I want to be able to play these next round, so I need to draw 3 cards to get to 5. So I get 1, 2, 3 cards. And the 3 cards I got a Preservation, which is another special resource card, and I can spend it to play a card as if I would normally, but if I use it, I get to heal a damage from myself. I got Target Acquired, which is a card from the Black Widow hero pack, actually, and what that lets me do is I can, if a boost card is turned face up during a villain's activation, I can cancel its boost ability. But I need to have this in play before that happens since it's an upgrade, so that's not going to happen yet. And then same thing with Defensive Stance since it's an upgrade. If I would take any amount of damage, I discard it to prevent 3 of it, but I have to have it in play first. So nothing that I can use right this second, but they'll be good for next round. Okay, so then I'm going to ready all of my things. I'm going to ready Doctor Strange. I'm going to ready Longshot, and then I'm going to take the coin off of the Levitation Cloak. And then he is going to get 1 threat on the main scheme, because he always gets that. And then he's going to try to attack me, but he can't, so he's going to get rid of the stun. And then I'm going to get an encounter card. And the encounter card is Gang Up, the villain attacks. It's like it was meant to be. I was just talking about it. So he's going to attack me for 2 + 1 is 3. And then if I take any damage, he'll also get to add a threat to the main scheme. I think I'm just going to take it because I'm going to be able to heal at least 1 during my next turn with my Preservation card. And I don't want to exhaust to defend because then I can't use the top card of my deck over here. I guess I could use the Cloak to ready, but I'd rather be able to play 2 cards from the deck over here. And taking some damage right now I don't think is the end of the world. So I'm going to take it. So he's going to hit me for 3 + 1. And that is going to add up to 4. And then this is a good time to explain this since I just drew this card. This scenario normally requires, or doesn't require, normally asks you to use 1 modular encounter set called Goblin Gimmicks. But as we've continued our pattern, I'm just using the next alphabetical order one. So this is Crossfire's Crew encounter set is the one I shuffled in. And this is a card from that. So right now we're just using it as a boost card, so the only part that matters is this part down here. So he's attacking me for his normal 2 + 1 from the Goblin Glider + 1 from this card. So 4 attack is what I am taking. So I'm going to get knocked down to 6. And then since I took damage from an attack, I have to add a threat to the main scheme. Okay, and then it is my turn. I am going to use 2 resources from Power of Protection to play Defensive Stance so that I have a little bit of damage prevention so that doesn't happen again. And then I am going to spend, let's do this, I will, problem I have right now is the Vapors of Valtor got put back on top of the deck, and it doesn't actually do anything right now. That's unfortunate. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to attack for 1 with Doctor Strange. I'm going to attack for 2 with Longshot. So he takes a damage. And then I am going to spend 2 resources to play Ever Vigilant. I have the aerial trait, so I can ready my hero and remove 2 threat from the main scheme. So I'm going to ready my hero and remove 2 threat from the main scheme. And then, since I paid for Ever Vigilant with Preservation, I get to heal a damage from my identity. So I get to heal up to 7. And then I am out of cards. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to attack 1 more time with Doctor Strange for 1. And that will knock him down to 0. And we'll go to Green Goblin's second stage. It says, when revealed, deal 2 encounter cards to each player. So I'm going to grab 2 encounter cards. So that means I'll have to deal with 3 encounter cards this round. And then what I'd like to do next is I'm going to exhaust the Cloak of Levitation and ready Doctor Strange 1 more time. And then let's, I need to reset Green Goblin's health. It is resetting to 18. Let's do, I think what I want to do is, what I want to do is I want to flip over to Alter Ego side and just choose to discard this with his Alter Ego action. But I'd rather not be in Alter Ego form, but I might. I think I will just attack for 1 again with him because I might as well. I don't really need to heal this turn. I can always heal on my next turn. And then I'm going to flip over to Alter Ego side. And on Alter Ego side, I'm going to discard the top card of the Invocation deck, which now is empty, so I'll have to shuffle it. Basically, I just wanted to get past that card because that card was not one I was wanting to play. So I'm going to reshuffle the Invocation deck. And the top card is the 7 Rings of Ragador, which is going to let me give characters tough cards. Okay. It would be a good combo if I could get the 7 Rings of Ragador and then get the card that lets me swap status cards, because I could give Green Goblin tough, but then take it away and give him stunned or confused instead. Like, that would be sweet. But you don't know what order those are going to come out in necessarily. Okay, so then I'm done for my turn. I'm going to ready and ready and ready. And then I'm going to draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I got another resource card. This time I got Genius, which happens to have Doctor Strange on it. That's kind of fun. I got another Spiritual Meditation. I had a Subdue earlier in the game, but I used it as a resource. It is when an enemy initiates an attack, it gets -3. That might be one I use this turn. Protective Ward again, I can cancel a Treachery card, and then I haven't gotten either of these yet. Choose a scheme, remove 3 threat from that scheme, and look at the top card of the encounter deck. For each boost icon on that card, remove an additional threat. And then Magic Blast is an attack, and it deals 5 damage, and discard the top card of your deck, and then it'll do other things depending on what card you discard. Okay, so then we're going to do his turn. He's going to get 1 threat on the main scheme for his always that he gets. And then now that I'm in Alter Ego form, he's going to scheme against me, and there's not a whole lot I can do about scheming. It's just going to happen. So he is going to scheme for 2 plus a boost card, which has 1. So he's going to scheme for 3. And then the boost effect on this card says discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard an ally. Okay. Don't have a ton of those left, so no. Nope. No, hopefully I don't have to discard my entire deck. Nope. Hey, there's one. Okay, so I discard until I get to an ally. I got to an ally, so then I discard those. Okay. Got rid of some good cards there. That's unfortunate. Okay, so he did his scheme, and then he is going to deal me my normal encounter card for the round, and then I've got 2 more. So I've got to deal with 3 encounter cards this round. Thankfully, I did draw the Protective Ward, so I can cancel one of them if it's a Treachery card, which I probably will, depending on what happens. Okay, so first one is Caught Off Guard, discard an upgrade or support you control. So that would either be his Cloak of Levitation or Defensive Stance. I think I'm okay with discarding Defensive Stance. That's not so bad. Okay, and then if I only had Cloak of Levitation in play, I would definitely cancel that. But okay, Wicked Ambitions. Discard cards from the encounter deck where X is equal to double the villain's stage number. His stage number is 2, so we would discard 4. If a goblin minion is discarded, choose to either take damage and take 3 damage or put that minion into play engaged with you. I think this is the one I'm going to cancel. So who knows if this next one's going to be worse, but I think I'm going to cancel that one. So I am going to spend... Let's spend my... I'm going to spend 1 to play Protective Ward. When a Treachery card is revealed, cancel and discard it. Okay. And then I have 1 more encounter card, which is, hey, I got a minion anyway. When revealed, you are stunned. If you are already stunned, take 2 damage. So I am stunned. Boom. Okay, and then it is my turn. Okay. On Alter Ego side, I can discard this top card of the Invocation deck if I want to. And I think I am going to. So I'm going to go ahead and discard it and reveal the next one. And I got the Crimson Bands of Sidorak again. I promise I shuffled. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip to hero side. I'm going to exhaust Doctor Strange, use his basic attack to get rid of the stunned. And then I will use the Cloak of Levitation to ready him. Okay. The monster minion thankfully does not have guard, so I don't have to deal with him before I get rid of Green Goblin, but I might want to get rid of him anyway just because he's really big. I think what I'm going to do first is I am going to spend 3 resources. Actually, I wouldn't have enough to do both, would I? Yeah, so let's do this. So I'm going to use Doctor Strange's ability. I'm going to exhaust him. I'm going to pay 2 resources. I'm going to use Genius to play Crimson Bands of Sidorak. So I'm going to stun an enemy. I'm going to stun Green Goblin and deal 7 damage to him. So I'm going to knock him down to 10. And then I am going to... Let's spend... and then I need to discard Crimson Bands of Sidorak. Okay. And then I'm going to spend 2 resources from my hand to play... Ooh, I could. That might be worth it. This turn, it's okay. I'm going to spend 2 resources from my hand. I was thinking they're both yellow, so I could get rid of this, but he's most likely not going to attack me anyway. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to play Astral Projection, choose a scheme. Sorry, it wouldn't focus. There we go. Choose a scheme, remove 3 threat, and look at the top card of the encounter deck. For each boost icon, remove an additional. So I'm going to remove 3, and then I might remove that last one. This does not have a boost icon on it, so I will not remove anymore. And then I look at the top card of the encounter deck. Okay, so I get to know what the next card is. So that card is a Goblin Thrall, so I know that that is going to be coming to me as an encounter card. So I'm going to have guard next round. So then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save Longshot, and I'm going to have him block the attack that's going to come from the monster. And I'm going to go ahead and ready everything and draw my hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we got. Oh, good. I had to use my Magic Blast to play my Sidorak card, but I got my second copy of it, got another target acquired. Mystical Studies is an alter ego action. I can search my discard and deck for a Doctor Strange card, and then another defensive stance. Okay. Okay, so then it is Green Goblin's turn. He's going to get 1 threat on the main scheme. Then he would try to attack me, but he can't, so he loses the stun. I take 3 attack from the monster. I'm going to have Longshot take that. So Longshot gets knocked out. And then I am going to get an encounter card from the deck. Counter card I got is the Goblin Thrall, which we already knew what was going to happen. Okay, so then it is my turn. And I am going to use that would be kind of a waste. I'm going to use his ability to play the top card of the deck, and I'm just going to get past it, even though it doesn't do anything. Flip the next one. And then I'm going to ready him. And I can confuse the villain and remove 4 threat from a scheme. Man, this is frustrating. I think I'm going to spend 3 resources. This is kind of a waste. I'm going to spend 3 resources to play Magic Blast, deal 5 damage to an enemy, and discard the top card of your deck. And then it doesn't matter what I discard, stun that enemy, deal 2 damage to that enemy, or confuse that enemy, or do all of the above. But I think I'm going to just do it to the Goblin Thrall. No, just so I don't waste it, I'm going to do it to the monster. Okay, I'm not going to probably be able to attack Green Goblin much this turn anyway. So I'm going to deal 5 damage to the monster. I'm going to discard the top card of my deck. It is yellow on Magic Blast. Yellow means I deal 2 damage to that enemy. So I'm dealing 7 total to the monster. I'll get rid of him. Then I will... Let's do... I'm really just trying to get through his Invocation deck as quickly as possible so I can get back to the Scarlet Bands of Sidorak so I can just deal 7 damage again. Let's just do that. So I'll use Doctor Strange and pay 1 resource to play Images of Icon to remove 4 threat from a scheme and confuse the villain. And then reveal the next card. And then unfortunately I don't have a way to ready him again, so I can't use this card. I'm going to go ahead and ready everything. And then I'm going to have to take an extra encounter card this turn since I am having to shuffle my deck. So I will draw 1. I got magical enhancements. And then I need to draw 3 more after I shuffle. Okay, I need 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, well, that's good. Okay, so I got a subdue, so I can reduce his attack that he's about to do to me. I got spiritual meditation again. I have drawn Sanctum Sanctorum before, but I discarded it as a resource. Magical enhancements and another defensive stance. I'll probably end up using this subdue. Okay, so then it is Green Goblin's turn. He's going to get a threat on the main scheme. He's going to attack me for 2+1 from the glider. When an enemy initiates an attack, I'm going to spend a resource to play subdue. When he initiates an attack, he gets -3 for that attack. So he's attacking me for 3. -3 is 0. He still gets a boost card. I'm not going to defend it. So he's attacking me for 0. And then we get the Goblin Nation side scheme in play. Each goblin enemy gets +1 attack. That comes in with 2 threat on it. And that immediately boosts the Goblin Thrall, so he's going to hit me for 2 damage instead of 1. So I took none from Green Goblin's attack, but I took 2 from the Goblin Thrall. And then I will have to deal with 2 encounter cards this round. First one is Advance the Villain Schemes. He can't because he is confused. And then my second encounter is a Goblin Soldier. This one doesn't have guard or anything, but when defeated, I will take a damage. So he has Death Strike, essentially. When he dies, he'll deal damage to me. Okay, so then it's my turn. I am going to play Spiritual Meditation to draw 2 cards and discard 1. I'm going to discard Defensive Stance and keep Ever Vigilant. Then I will use Doctor Strange and pay 0 for the cost of Winds of Watum to draw 3 cards. 1. Drew a Preservation for my first card, a Power of Protection for my second card, and a Target Acquired for my third card. I'm going to use the Power of Protection, 2 resources for a green card, to play Ever Vigilant, to ready my hero, and remove 2 threat from the main scheme. There's only 1. I need to shuffle the Invocation deck. And reveal the top card is the Vapors of Altor. Okay. Then I need to get rid of this Goblin Thrall. That is just causing issues, and it's very frustrating right now. So I think I am going to spend 1 resource with Preservation, which is going to heal me 1, to play Magical Enhancements. Gives me +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense until the end of the round. So I'm going to play that, and I'm going to attack with Doctor Strange for 2 on the Goblin Thrall, which doesn't kill it. I'll ready myself with the Cloak, and then attack for 2 more on the Goblin Thrall to get rid of it. Okay. Then I think I am going to flip over to Alter Ego form. I'm going to risk 1 round in Alter Ego form because he has 2 stages he has to complete, and I don't want to die from his attacks. And I also want to get rid of the Vapors of Altor, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and discard Defensive Stance to play Target Acquired just to reduce the amount of threat that he'll add. So when a boost card is revealed, I will cancel the boost ability. And then that's going to be the end of my turn. So I'm going to go ahead and ready everything. And I will draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, all cards we've seen before: Power of Protection, Mystical Arts, Mystical Studies, Subdue, Defensive Stance, Astral Projection. Okay, I've already shuffled my deck, so we've seen all these cards already. All right, he gets 1 threat on the main scheme, and then he is going to scheme. He schemes for 2 plus 2. I will use target acquired to cancel those 2 boost cards, or 2 boost icons, so cancel that boost card's boost ability. So he's only going to scheme for 2 more instead of 4 more. But then the Goblin Soldier schemes for 1 more, so I'll just leave that on there. Then I get an encounter card. My encounter card for the round is Pumpkin Bombs attached to the villain. After the villain attacks you, discard Pumpkin Bombs and take 2 indirect damage. So 1 attack will be a little bit bigger and then it goes away. Okay. Let's hope we can just win this thing. All right, so I'm going to use his ability to discard Winds of Watoon and reveal the next card. And then I'm going to, at the end of the round, I would have had to discard mystical enhancements, or magical enhancements, I apologize. Then I'm going to flip over to hero side. I'm going to exhaust and spend 1 resource. I'll spend 1 resource to play the 7 Rings of Ragador, to give myself a tough card. And then the next card flips. Oh my gosh, it's going to make me go through all of them. Already Doctor Strange with the cloak, and then exhaust him again to play Images of Icon. I will spend a resource to play that and move Images of Icon over. I confuse the villain and remove 4 threat from a scheme. There is exactly 4 on the main scheme. Got unlucky on that shuffle. Had to go through all 5 of them to get to 7 are the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. Okay, and then I am going to pay 1 resource to play Master of Mystical Arts, pay the printed cost of the top card of the Invocation deck, resolve its special ability, then place it back on top. So I'm going to also stun him and deal 7 damage. So he's down to 3. And he is also stunned. And then I'm going to spend Power of Protection as 2 resources for Defensive Stance. Put that in play. And then we have to ready, and we have to go through 1 more villain phase, because we didn't quite have enough to defeat him. I had to exhaust myself a couple too many times. All right, so we're going to draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then it is going to be his turn. He's going to get his 1 threat on the main scheme. He would try to attack us, but he can't, so he loses the stun instead. The Goblin Soldier has +1 attack from Goblin Nation, so he's going to deal 2 damage to us, which is not going to do anything because it's just going to go through the tough. Then we're going to get an encounter card. Our encounter card is Out for Blood from Crossfire's Crew. When revealed, deal 1 damage to the friendly character with the fewest remaining hit points. If that character is defeated this way, repeat this effect. So I take 1 damage. Down to 5. And then we have Out for Blood in play as a side scheme, which shouldn't matter because I have 1 anyway. Because all I have to do is just exhaust Doctor Strange, pay 2 resources from my hand, play Crimson Bands of Sidorak, deal 7 damage to Green Goblin, and stun him again technically, and knock him down to 0. All right, that was Doctor Strange versus Green Goblin. Doctor Strange is still probably the single hero that is the most powerful. He can just do everything. Like, he's a protection character. That's his focus in his aspect. But every single part of the game he is capable of doing. So you need to thwart the main scheme. He can do that. You need to deal a bunch of damage to the villain. He can do that. You need to play allies. He's got a few allies and he does them fairly well. You need to protect yourself and others from taking damage. He does that. He cancels treachery cards from the encounter deck. Like, there's nothing in the game that he can't do. He does certain things better than others, but this invocation deck is just insane. Even when I had to go through the whole thing before I found the card I was looking for, I was able to go through the whole thing in one round, which is just crazy. So he's awesome. He's really powerful. He wins pretty regularly. He's usually at the top of most people's power rankings of characters that are really good. So he is really fun. Next, we will be playing as yet another character that is very, very powerful. One of the newer characters, Domino. Domino is also very powerful. She's a little more swingy because she relies on discarding certain cards from her deck in order to work correctly. But if you set up her deck correctly, it works pretty well most of the time. So Domino is all going to be our character, and we're going to be going against Hela. And Hela is a one similar to when we played against the first version of Apocalypse, where you have to go through a side scheme and a minion, and then go through another side scheme and a minion, and they're kind of paired together. And you have to make your way through them before you actually get to defeat Hela. So that's what we'll do next time. All right. Thanks, everybody.